of meditation techniques and deep prayer, and people who had near-death experiences, as I did when I was 17. And what happens, and when you come to realize that you also come to realize that the consciousness whereby you're awake is infinite and omnipresent. And in fact, everything is made of the stuff of awareness resonating as that thing. Doesn't matter what it is. This, that, the stars, the body. It's all consciousness resonating as that thing. Remember this as we go through this discussion. Because what I really want to introduce to you is a new cosmological understanding, a cosmology that integrates mind and consciousness with technologies and interstellar travel and interstellar communication and contact with extraterrestrial life forms. That's where we're going in the next 2 hours. Y'all ready for this? Yeah, let's go. Okay, so yeah, I'm a Southerner. My joke, as I said, when I go to these meetings at the Pentagon to brief admirals and generals and CIA directors and all this stuff and ministers of defense, is that I just say, I'm a country doctor from Virginia. I used to be from North Carolina, but now I live in Virginia. But here's what I found out about that project that they're lying to you about. And they go, oh, good. And it's one of these things where in this memoir, I go through this journey that started when I was 8 or 9, where I had my first contact with these beings from other civilizations, and goes up to the very recent, the last year or two. And it is quite a journey. It's quite a journey. Share it as a way of explaining the journey that all of us are going through, because we're really all one person. We're one being shining through many bodies and individualities. And another thing I'd like to point out is that everyone in this room is awake, I hope. You're not all stomped on the stage and wake you up. But if you're awake, that awake mind is shining through your individuality. And think of your individuality in its purest form, on the color level of its creation, as this perfect snowflake, unique. No two are alike. Or a window, a crystalline window that is itself conscious. And the consciousness whereby you can be aware of awareness is the same consciousness shining from the eyes of each person here. And so you realize that there's one universe teeming with life, and there's really one being, one person, and one people. And the motto for CSETI, the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, is one universe, one people. And we're really all one people, emanating from this unbounded mind. And you cannot travel through interstellar distances without having a clear understanding of that fundamental truth. Why? Because as soon as you try to go beyond the resonance frequency of light, and I coined a phrase called the crossing point of light, which actually, have you ever heard of a group? There's a group called Enigma. And in their third CD, they incorporated these ideas into their third CD. Go listen to it carefully. But the crossing point of light, when you hit that resonance frequency where you transcend the crossing point of light, you have entered what had been called by mystics and what have you, the etheric and astral level of energy. And you can resonate further into finer refinement, where you reach the finest level of that, which has been called the celestial. And then you can reach the finest level of that and transcend it, and you reach the world of the pure idea tone. And every single thing that exists has within it a standing resonance wave that's a pure tone, which gives rise to the form, which then manifests the object. Right? You all know this. Okay, we're going to get into the physics of this and what I call infra-ultrasound, whereby extraterrestrial spacecraft are manifest that way or materialize that way. They're not, you know, the guys I've worked with who've actually been on the retrieval teams that have retrieved these objects after we knocked them down with electromagnetic weapon systems, alas, out of our foolishness. God help us all. Forgive them, they know not what they do. They say, you know, there's No seams. It's as if the entire spacecraft and everything and everyone in it appeared in this seamless way. Why is that? How many people have seen one of these things up close enough to see that? And the light coming from it has this celestial quality, not like the light here. It's a light you can't explain. Why? Because the materials from which the light is emanating is so pure. And when these are analyzed in laboratories, and they have, and I know people who study the metallurgy, they are so pure that you could not even refine it with known earth sciences to that level of purity. Not even in a vacuum. And it's because these technologies permit an extraterrestrial civilization that's interstellar to be able to create a standing wave resonance frequency in tone, if you will, that then creates a blueprint, like an architect's blueprint, in the astral etheric that then coalesces and forms in its totality the entire spacecraft. Think of it. If you understand what I just said, you understand how the manufacturing of these objects occurs and how we're going to be building things on this planet in the future. Oh yeah, we already have these technologies. They're in black projects, and I'll tell you where they are. You want to know where they are? I'll show you a map. In fact, the second book, or the first book, Extraterrestrial Contact, has a list of all the key facilities. Why is it in here? Well, a member of Congress from here, or Orange County, Chris Cox, who then became head of the SEC recently under Bush. Oh, my God, I'm going to get a rectal probe or something. Get there. I'm a medical doctor, but let's not go there today. Sorry, I have to introduce bizarre and inappropriate comments with the sublime. So you go from the ridiculous to the sublime, and that's it. But where was I? And he wanted this information. He said, well, you know, I'm sure this is true, is what he said. I was meeting with him in his office in OC, Orange County down here. And he says, I'm sure this is true, but, you know, committees I've been on, I've never been briefed. I said, no, you wouldn't be. You'd be in the wrong facility for that. You need to be on the 7th floor of the Xerox building in Arlington, or blah, blah, blah. He went, what? I said, oh, yeah. This is all operating in the corporate world. The robber barons that take, currently, it's around $100 billion a year out of the Treasury through black project programs into the corporate world, and they have these shell corporations and shell activities and reports they give to Congress saying we're building X, Y, Z. You know, and they're really building ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, these things that you see zipping around that are actually manufactured up here at the Edwards Complex and out in Utah near the AA Proving Grounds in Provo, and the consortium of companies that involve SAIC in La Jolla down the road here, and Lockheed Skunk Works in Northrop, and a few of these other folks. And so I put all that together for him. And he was going, how do you have this? I said, well, I got guys who've been in these projects to step forward. He says, well, how did you do that? I said, I asked them to. I know it sounds simple and a bit quotidian. You know, it's like you're going through life as, you know, doing this and that, and you just say, well, would you join me in telling the public the truth about what they should have known years before I was born? Because by the time I was born, in 1955, these things were already known, the technologies were already figured out, and we didn't need anything resembling the technologies we use today. And you have to say, well, why don't we use them? Well, that's somebody's $200 trillion piggy bank. $200,000 billion in proven oil, gas, and coal reserves. And there's only 200 or 300 corporations and people who own it. Right? And so the world we have is a faint shadow of the world the divine spirit and the universal mind and these cosmic beings have wanted us to have and have been encouraging us to move to. And what you see happening on the earth today with global warming, environmental destruction, geopolitical wars over oil, and let's just say that's what it's about. I mean, all this crap, like we're going to impose Jeffersonian democracy on. Quack, quack, quack. You know, who believes this myth? So, I'm sorry.